I'd like to tell you about a hunting expedition that I took Mr. Bunce on, Mr. Frank Bunce. It was quite funny because he actually rates himself as a bit of a hunter, you know, and we went out the back in the Wanganui back blocks, and I said, bro, you sure you've done a bit of hunting? He said, oh, I'm a hunter from way back, he reckons. He reckons he's done a bit of hunting in the nightclubs and stuff like that. I said, well, mate, it's a little bit different to hunting in the bush. And so I took him out on the bush. I gave him the gun. We had a shotgun and it had a buckshot pellet in it, you know, for shooting the big wild boars if they really need stopping. So we started walking anyway, and my mate was going on about how good a hunter he is, and I just kept real quiet because I'm quite a humble fella, eh? Anyway, we got to this point, and I sent Frank on a ridge. I said, go down that ridge, mate, and I'll come down the other end, and if you hear the dogs on my side, you come down into the gut and pick the pig up. And so I was gone 10 minutes. The next minute, the dogs were off. And they were barking and bailing. They were bailing harder. I kept running around. And Frank was up a tree and the dogs were bailing Frank. It was unbelievable. They were bailing Frank. I don't know why. They must have thought he was some dirty old wild boar, you know. But it was, I didn't understand that one. Anyway, I pulled the dogs back and sent them off again. And I walked back down the ridge. Next minute, I sent the dogs down. I knew there was a good wild boar down. I sent them down there. And they were bailing up a bloody big boar, eh? It was probably about 160 pounder. And Frank comes shooting down the other side of the ridge. And I saw him and I said, Gus, right, come over here, shoot it now, shoot it. And he goes, yeah, I know. And he goes in, being a real hunter, he goes up the next way. And he had the safety on. Well, that didn't bloody work, and the dogs are getting nailed by this big boy. I said, boy, take the bloody safety off, you idiot. He goes, I know, I'm a hunter from way back, he reckons. And next minute, he didn't realise how much the shotgun with a buckshot on it can kick, you know, and boom, he fired it. Not only did he miss the pig, but he fell backwards, popped his shoulder, and he was screaming in agony on the other side of the bloody ridge. And so I yelled at him, yeah, useless bugger. And I went down, I stuck the pig, and I looked at him, and there he is on the side of the cliff. Oh, he was like, oh, help. He was yelling out to me to go and help him. So I went over there, I looked at him, geez, you're a great bloody hunter, you are, aren't you, boy? And he's like, God, you have to help me, my shot. And he actually dislocated his shoulder. So we carried on, and not only that, when he fired the gun, he had his eye too close to the gun, and the gun actually kicked back and hit him on the side of the cheek. So he had a dislocated shoulder, he had a cut on his cheek, and he was nearly crying. Mate, what a hunter is that, eh? Anyway, I put the pig, gutted the pig, tucked it on my shoulder, and he was walking back to the car, up this ridge, and he was like, oh, is it so sore? I was going, shut up, please, just shut up. And on the way back, he slipped and rolled his ankle. So this great hunter that he always told me about, he dislocated his shoulder, he cut his cheek and twisted his ankle, and by the time we got to the car, it took us 4 hours on a half-an-hour walk, and I had to hold the pig and carry him, and he was like, oh, no, I was all the way. And when he got to the car, he was nearly in tears, hopeless fun. And when he gets home, he tells the story about how he shot the pig, how he carried the pig out, and that I got injured. Unbelievable fella.